Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, like I mentioned in the last video, we are going to do some laser print transfers. So I have a variety of images that I got off of Unsplash, which is a copyright-free image database that you can go and upload photos to your device, and then if you are lucky enough to have a laser printer at home, go ahead and print them up. They do better in color than black and white. Or I don't have one of those at my house, so I started an account with Office Max, and I just went ahead and sent them over there. I had them back like within 2 hours. It was crazy. But so they are color copies. I think they ended up being about 50 cents a piece, so a little pricey, but it's art. What are you gonna do? So I tried to pick images that had a lot of contrast on them. I'm not sure if that's going to mean as much as it does with a magazine print, but I figured it probably would. So I went with this tree in front of the large moon. And I got this bison. And I also used an image I took of myself from my photos on my phone, which is something that you can also print. So we're gonna do something a little bit different with this one though, but we'll do that last. First up, I want to try the moon and the tree. So I think we are going to print the initial pull in cadmium red because I like the brightness of it. Trying not to put too much paint down there. I was playing with these the other day because I'd never done one, and before I put it into a video, I kind of wanted to test it out and see what happened. And the ones that I did worked beautifully. I'll show you the one I did of a picture of my cat because it's kind of hilarious. But for right now, let's get a nice, even, thinnish kind of coat of this red on the plate. That should be pretty good. Try to set this down pretty straight there, and I can tell I didn't, but what are you gonna do? It's art, it's experimentation. It's never gonna be perfect, so you kind of have to give up that notion and that control of perfection, especially with something like this. And as soon as you do that, you're gonna be a lot happier just in general while you're creating art, and also with the pieces that you create, because I think sometimes we get so caught up in the perfectionism of it that we lose sight of the fact that it's supposed to be a joyful act. But that's just my opinion. So let's see. Did you print? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, well, the tree printed. The tree printed. It did not print the moon for some reason, and I don't know why, and I'm not going to pretend like I do. But okay, we'll go ahead and we'll print the tree. And what do I want to print that onto? You know, actually, I think what we're going to do is print that on top of something that we already printed in the last session, just to show you that you can do that. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but I tried to do the elephants, which didn't really work out. But I think I'm going to turn it upside down and get the tree printed on that. So what I'm going to use for that, if you'll remember from one of my first videos, I'm going to use some of this matte gel medium. And this is what you want to use. Oh, I cannot get that open. How many times do I say that? This is what you want to use when you want to pull a print without putting another color down. So what we're going to do is just pull up the red that's on there. So I'm going to get my well-loved palette knife here, spread some of that on. And I'm going to brayer it right over the image of the tree. And this is going to act just like acrylic paint. And when we lay the paper down over top of it, it will just pull up the image because the gel is clear. That looks pretty good. And the only reason why I'm doing this upside down is because there's a lot going on at the bottom already, and since the elephants didn't really print up here, there's some blank space. So let's see what happens. This is all an experiment. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. You'll know as soon as I do. I'm gonna leave this sit on the plate for a minute, clean off my knife, clean off my brayers. Oops, I let that one sit too long and now it's got a big sheet of paper stuck to it. So we'll just go ahead and peel that off. Incidentally, you can wear gloves when you do these prints because you will get paint all over you. As you can see, I don't care. So I am typically just covered with paint all the time. But if that bothers you, then please, by all means, get yourself some gloves and protect your hands. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay. Oh yeah, that's nice. I'll bring that in so you can really see the tree. Now it's subtle, but that's because there's a lot going on in the background. But you can see how it picked up all of the foliage, the main tree in the front there. And I think if I were going to do this again, I would probably do something with a stronger contrast. That the what color is this? Burnt sienna? Burnt umber. The burnt umber that I used in the background of this is pretty dark, so the red is competing with that. So you can't really see a lot of the details. But that demonstrated the process of how you can pull one print on top of another from a photo transfer. Let's see if we can get this bison to work any better. And let's see, what color do we want to do him in? Oh, let's just go, we're gonna go Payne's Gray because, as I've said a million times, I just love that color. There is some Payne's Gray. And get that spread out on the canvas. Oh, there's a hair somewhere in there, somewhere on my brayer. I find that I print cat hairs a lot, which, you know, is never my goal. Okay, sorry about that. And it looks like there's another one on there because instead of being smart about it, I just laid it right back down on the sheet. But hey, let's go with it. Let's set him down and see what we can do. I hope this one works out. Like I said before, I did one of my cat that worked really nice, and I'll show that to you. And I also did an elk that turned out really cool. And I do have that here. I'll show you. And one thing about these is, from everything I've heard, you're really only supposed to be able to pull one print per copy, but I found that I was able to get 3, and I mean, each one had a diminishing quality to it, but I would say the first 2 were definitely usable, and the third you might be able to do something with. Okay. All right, I can kind of see something going on there. There's his eye. You can see the horn. It'd be helpful if I put that in. There you go. You can see the horn there. You can see the eye. The nose seems to have gotten a little bit lost. You can see the beard, but at any rate, we will see what happens. I'm gonna print this with a light color. I'm thinking we're just gonna go in with, no, you know what? We haven't used yellow ochre yet. We'll use the yellow ochre. Let's give him a second to finish drying. It's pretty dry. did a fairly good job of getting a thin coat on there. I'll go ahead and clean off the brayer in the meantime. While we're waiting for that to finish drying, I will show you the images that I did a few days ago. So this is an elk that I did from a laser print transfer. That was, I believe, the first pool. Yeah, that was the first pool, and this was the second pool. So you can see they both turned out pretty good, and then I tried to do a third, and while you can make out the top of the top of the antlers and a little bit of the back, the rest of the image gets lost. But if you're someone who likes to draw, you could go back in and kind of paint or draw around it if you wanted to. But I was pretty pleased with that because I was able to get 2 decent prints out of one copy. That is dry, which is a good thing because otherwise I would have just pulled it up on the back of that print. Okay, so we're going to use some of this yellow ochre on top of him. Let's see if we can get a nice print. I would say go into this process with low expectations. It reminds me a lot of clay. I'm actually, my degree is in clay, and I've made lots and lots of pottery over the years, and the first thing you have to learn from that is not to get attached to anything until it is all the way through the process and out of the kiln, because there are about 1,000 different ways the piece can get ruined from the time you create it until the time that it's finished. So I kind of like to enter this process with that same kind of attitude, hoping for the best, but don't get attached to any one particular idea because it might just not work out. Let's get that cleaned off a little bit. While this one is drying, I'm going to pull the picture I did of my cat and show you. I will show you, I'll show you this is actually the print that I pulled it off of. I did 3 prints off of it, so he's blue in this picture, but this is the original print, and this is, or I'm sorry, that was the original copy that I showed you. This is the mono print that I pulled, and I was very pleased with that. If you knew my cat, this captures his personality pretty darn perfectly. But it's just a fun process to do, and there's so many possibilities. Okay, yeah, this turned out okay. It's not perfect by any means, but it turned out pretty good. I'll bring it in a little closer here. You can kind of see the negative space of the horn there. You've got the shape of his face. His nose did come out. There's his eye. I mean, you can look at that and easily see what the animal is, which is what I was going for. So that is pretty cool. And I mentioned in my last video that there's a process that you can do using these laser copies to make your own t-shirts with. And at some point I'm going to do a video on that. There's one ingredient that you need that I don't currently have. So as soon as I get that, I will be experimenting with it and I will show you guys what I come up with. For right now, I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to pull one more print of the buffalo just to see if I can get a second one like I did off of some of the other ones that I did the other day. And you can see with me. I am just putting some burnt umber down on the plate here. And try to keep the color pretty dark and pick it up with a very light contrasting color, because since not a lot of detail was picking up, I think that's going to be the best way to get as much detail as possible. And this might not even work. We'll see. While we're letting this sit on the plate to dry for a second, I'm going to go ahead and get this image that I took. This is just a selfie that I took of myself a while ago, and I liked it because of the contrast. I'm going to try something different with this. I am going to rip it in half, and I'll show you what I want to do with that in just a second. Did we... So it's hard to say. This one might not have worked as well as the other ones that I did with the second prints. Again, I think you're just better off with using as much contrast as possible. I can see something on the plate here. I don't know how well it's going to turn out. When I pick the plate up and look, I can't really see anything. We might not get a winner out of this, but we'll find out in a second. What did I'm gonna go in and pick that print up with just some of this ivory, because it's one of the lightest colors that I have, other than just using pure white, which I don't love pure white. It has its place, of course, but not for this. This I want to have just a slight ivory tinge to it. So let's see what happens here. Clearly something's still on here. Little chunks of paint. Oh yeah, that hair made a comeback, so that's good. There we go, I think I got it this time. Let's see what kind of image we can get off of this second pool. I don't know what's going to happen, but we will find out. Oh, well, I did that very crooked, but we're into it now, so we're going to go with it. I'm just going to use this to clean up that edge. I'm going to continue to clean off my brayer while that is setting up on the plate there. Let's see what we got. Something is picking up. Don't know that we're going to be able to tell that it is an animal. So, kind of. I would say this is not a successful second print. Bring it in a little bit closer here. Because I know what I'm looking at, I can tell what it is. There's the eye, there's the nose, there's the little bit of the horn, the forehead, and the beard. But I would say in general, if somebody is just walking in and looking at that, it doesn't really look like a whole lot. So I guess what I would take from that is sometimes you can get more than one print and sometimes you can't. So if you want to, just try and see what you can come up with. All right. So for this last laser print, we're going to use this selfie that I have torn in half here. And I think I am going to print that in the Prussian blue. And we're gonna pick it up with some yellow. But what I'm gonna do, once I get the paint down on the plate here, I'm going to skew it slightly when I set it down so that it doesn't line up exactly, because I think it's going to create a much more interesting composition. I mean, you can just print your face if you want to, and you know, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that, but I like to make it a little bit more interesting, because if I just wanted a photograph, I could just get a photo. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to lay it like that. So not only is it skewed, but we're also going to have this kind of like chasm down the middle there. Since I don't love this buffalo print, I'm going to use him to pick up the extra blue here. All right. Give that a second. Let's see what's happening under there. Let me give this a little bit more pressure here. I've not tried this yet. I don't know how this image is going to work. I don't know how the technique is going to work, but let's see. I hope this works. Okay, all right, it looks like something's happening. I don't know that it's going to work as well as I wanted it to, but that's what you get sometimes. Okay. I can see my glasses and the outline of my hair a little bit, so I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what pulls up here. Are you dry? Yeah, you're dry enough. Just got a lot in one spot there, so I'm gonna just do that. And we will see what happens. So I think in the next video, I'm going to talk about stencils and masks and how you can use those to make some neat abstract pieces. Up until this point, we've kind of just been doing techniques, which is, you know, good because you need to have a foundation of what can actually work on the plate. But we will use stencils and masks and actually make a completed piece that is more than just technique sheets. All right, let's see what happens to my face. I do love that color combo. Okay. All right. It worked-ish. Again, because I know what I'm looking at, I think it's a little more successful than it probably is to anybody else. So you can see, here's the shape of my face. There's my glasses there, my glasses there. My features have kind of gotten lost in this, and you definitely can't tell exactly what the image is. I like it as an abstract piece, but I think I would redo it using a higher contrast image, or I don't know, maybe it's just one of those things that that piece isn't going to work. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the process that we went through today. I think it's kind of fun, and it's a lot of fun to do if you are just looking to spend an afternoon playing with some paint, and you know, it's interesting and neat, and I've never seen anything like it before. But anyway, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Check back on my next video. We're going to be doing stencils and masks, and I think you'll enjoy that a lot. Take care.